Okay, so let us go to the topic, today's topic directly. What is today's topic?
Does God exist?
Does God exist? So, how many of you feel yes, God exists? Raise your hands. Does God exist? So, almost 80-90%. Maybe few are not raised. If 90% of you all know, that means today's session is already solved. I need not have anything to speak. Everyone knows, right? God exists. So I'll just tell you an anecdote. What happened in a village? Slide. So one saint was invited in a village. He was supposed to talk in the village to talk about Lord. He has to convince everyone whether Lord exists. So he questioned everyone whether God exists. What everyone did? Everyone raised their hand. So he thought, then what I am supposed to do? Thank you everyone. My session is done. All of you have understood God exists. So I am leaving. So all the villagers were puzzled. They thought what to do. They wanted to hear something from the saint, and the saint is saying, I am going because everyone knows God exists. They all convinced the saint. No, you need to be there. We want to hear from you. So what the saint did? He came down. And then he asked the question. How many people believe God exists? Then this time nobody raised a hand. He said, if nobody believes in God, then what am I supposed to speak? Again he was about to leave. All the villagers now thought like how to convince this saint to tell about the God. So what they did? They again invited, sorry, please sir, come in. Then again he sat. Again he said the same question. How many of you believe in God? Now what they did? 50% raised and other 50% didn't raise. So what he said now? Good. 50% of you know God exists. Please explain the others. And he again went away. So that is the way here we have whether we understand God exists or not. It's all circumstantial. Sometimes we feel yes, God exists. Sometimes if somebody is in trauma or very much depressed, what they feel? They feel if God is there, why such things are happening? It may be God doesn't exist. So that way there is always kind of dilemma. A question in mind whether God exists or not. So that is why we are going to delve in detail the science of God. All of you have seen Science of Soul, right? We will do a quick recap. But now coming to this, whether God exists or not. When a person says God doesn't exist, what we say? We say atheist. But this atheist is not something new. It existed long back. It's not like something has started new. Why this started? Because as you have been hearing from Maharaj last 2 days, he has been teaching about little bit about the soul. Where all the information is there? Where is it? Scriptures, right? But the problem is nobody has the knowledge of scriptures. Then if you ask somebody, they don't have the proper answer. But if you go to a scientist, what he will say? He will be able to explain you about the eclipse, how the earth comes in a shadow, all those reasons they will be able to give. So a person may feel, yes, the scientists know everything. So the person who doesn't know about our scriptures, they feel he's a fanatic. He's just saying God exists, but he doesn't know anything. So the scientist is a person who has to be believed. So slowly the atheism started. Not only in the modern days, even long back, when the creation was done by the Lord, what happened? He created 2 demons also. From his nostril, a small particle came and then it became a huge demon and it started fighting with the Lord. So, all this from the scriptures, what we understand is the demoniac people who believe Lord doesn't exist also existed right from beginning. So this atheism is not something new, it has been existing long back. So now coming back to today's topic, does God exist? So now what happens? In today's world, there are two samaj you must be aware of. One is Astik Samaj, who feel, yes, God exists and we have to pray, we have to do puja. And there is another society who doesn't feel God exists. That is named as Nastik Samaj. Now, a person went to Nastik Samaj. That person, the leader over there, he was talking lot of things, saying, because people feel God exists and there is so many religions, there is war. So all these people who believe God exists, so many things are happening. Why we should believe in God and create so much problems? So that way everyone was enjoying the speech. There all the people will praising what a speech that person is giving. He is right to the point, he is able to pinpoint what is required for the society. So once he said that, and then after the speech he came down and he was appreciated by one person. बहुत अच्छा आपने speech दिया. How come you are so scholarly, you know all the reasons for the fight and war? How come this is happening? He said, मेरा क्या है, सब भगवान का दिया है. So this is a Nastik Samaj supposed to be, and he is supposed to speak about Nastik, but when he is asked why how he is getting the power, what he is saying, it is because of God. So even the Nastik Samaj, we see that person ultimately takes the shelter of God. So now let's go to the Astik Samaj and see what is happening there. So there again people are going towards and assembling, and then the leader is asked to speak in the Astik Samaj. So the Astik Samaj person, leader, talks about Lord, he exists. So all the scriptures and he quotes. And then after the speech is over, everybody is having some food and what else. And then what happens? They start talking about cricket and today's news. So that is the way the Astik Samaj, also people are not aware when God exists what one supposed to do, and they started gossiping. And here in the Nastik Samaj, though the person says God does not exist, still he himself is actually convinced that God exists. So that is the way now today's world is. Whether God exists, what is the word people use? Whether you believe in God. How does it matter whether the person believes in God or not? If God exists, God exists. Whether a person believes or not, it can be seen. For example, government. If I say government doesn't exist, and if I go on doing the way I want, what will happen? Police will come and then they will take me to the prison. So that is what will happen if a person says, I don't believe in government. Because the law is there and the law will be enforced. So here what we see, even if somebody says, I don't believe in God, the laws will be automatically implemented, whether one believes or not. And what is the other common terminology a person uses? God fearing. So does it matter who fears God? Who has done something wrong or something? A thief fears the police. So why we should say, are you God fearing? Not required, right? So we will see what is the right terminology. Before that, by going by today's topic, we will try to find when we say God exists, That means what we are expecting from the person who will proclaim he is God. What we want to expect from him. Next slide. Yeah, directly go to the next slide. Next slide. Okay, yeah. So the first point is proprietor. From God, what we want him to own everything. Suppose today one president or some countries like powerful countries president says that I own everything. What will happen after 5 years? Some other person will come. So we know he is not the proprietor. The owner is somebody else. So the first requirement, what we feel, the person should be the proprietor who himself calls him God. He should be proprietor. Then second expectation is, click karo aage. Yeah. So second is controller. So what we expect is he should have a complete control of what is happening. Now, if somebody says, I am God, what will happen the next day? He will get stomach upset and he will say, Mera pet gadbad hai. Even the bowel is not under the control. So we can understand a person if he says, I am God, and tomorrow he falls sick, we can understand how much control he is having on his own self. And the third definition, what we see over here is organizer. Everything is organized. Nothing in the world, if you see, is unorganized. Everything, something is happening. The waves are coming in the seashore and subsiding. It's not that every day you get a tsunami and nobody knows. Everything is under control, under a person. So anything is not happening on its own. Suppose in this hall, all the chairs are seated and all of you are assembled over here. Can I say automatically the chairs were assembled and you are sitting? Somebody had organized. Somebody has called a person from the temple. Chairs were organized. You are made seated over here so that you can listen. So there is an organizer. So even in a house, husband and wife, some small anecdote. What happened? Husband invited his friends to his house. And then he had a big dinner. And then he served everyone with chapatis and everything. The friend said, "Arey wah, bahut acha hai khana, kaun banaya?" He said, "Ye sab apne aap ho gaya." Then what happened? He got a slap from his wife. "Arey, itna kash karke banaya and then apne aap hua." So that is what organizer. That means everything is not happening automatically. There is a organizer. Then the fourth one, the lawmaker. Today, all of you are studying geography, planets and everything, right? There is motion of planets around the sun. Does it happen automatically? There is a law. You are talking about gravitation. But who has created this law of gravitation? Okay, Newton has found. But who has created this law? It has not happened by chance. But sometimes what we learn, the entire universe created by chance. A big bang came and the entire universe was created. That is okay, a temporary kind of understanding. But what does the scripture says? It is who has created. We will learn about that. Now, Newton knew everything is being controlled by the Lord. So what he did, in his lab, he had created a small model, like plenty of small planets, and it was revolving using a motor. He had depicted the complete universe, how it rotates around the sun. He had depicted. So one of his friend visited. The friend, once he visited, he asked, "Who has made this model? It's very nice." Newton said, "It just appeared automatically. One day I was sitting in my room and there was a big bang in the other room. And then automatically this model came." The friend said, "How it can happen?" automatically a Big Bang and then this model. Then Newton told his friend, if you can believe the entire universe is created by a Big Bang, then why not this small model? The small model is nothing. Small explosion creates a small model. If a Big Bang, big universe will be created. So we can understand how this wrong misconceptions comes in people's mind. Something has happened by chance, something has happened by a Big Bang. So all this have to be understood in a systematic manner. Who is the proprietor? Who is the controller? Who is the organizer? Who is the lawmaker? Everything has a person behind this. And that is what the scriptures tries to explain us, saying this is the reason, this is what is happening. And last 2 days we have been learning about who am I. What is that you have learned? About soul. So this soul, from where Maharaj was explaining, it was from Bhagavad Gita. The first point about the soul, it is a foundation that we need to understand who we are. That's why he explained. And in the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun gets confused, what I should do, I'm in a dilemma, whether I should fight with my grandfather, teacher. What Krishna said? He didn't say, yes, I am God, you have to fight because I am sane. He explained him, who is he? Why are you misinterpreting what is happening? So he gave the foundation of the course, explaining about himself, the jiva, the soul. That is the reason we discussed about the soul very beginning. Can you go to the previous slide? Previous. Yeah. So all of you have seen this example Maharaj has given. So I, being an IT industry, I'll do a quick recap of this analogy that you were given. So what is the hardware? Body. Body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. So that is the body, hardware. And then software. What is the software? Subtle body. In the body, Krishna explains, there is a gross form which everybody can see, the skin, and there are other parts, right? Internal in the body also, the doctors say you have 70% of water. So all these are depicted by the hardware. Then Maharaj, as he told about the mind, intelligence, false ego, that forms the software. So that is what you are not able to see. That is also the part of body. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Our body consists of 8 parts. 5 gross and 3 subtle form. The subtle you are not able to see. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It exists. Can anybody say you are not intelligent because I am not able to see your intelligence? So that is what happened in a school. The professor said there is no God because we are not able to see him. Then the student said that means you are not intelligent because we are not able to see your intelligence. Immediately the professor could not say anything. So that way these are the subtle form. So that is the software. Now in a computer we know the hardware is seen and software, somebody has prepared the operating system. It exists within. Does it mean it switches on automatically? No. What it needs? Electricity. So electricity is a soul that we exist. That's why the body is able to move. And we have seen many examples of existence of soul. What is that? One of the examples, the consciousness. If a person get a hit by somebody, then he feels a pain. Once the conscious goes away, he is not able to see any pain. So that is one of the proofs of existence of soul. Now, why I am coming back to the basics? electricity is there, hardware is there, software is there. Does it mean the computer will run always? What is the source of electricity? Generator. Finally, the generator is required for the electricity. So that is God. So the source that we need to run, that is God. So in Bhagavad Gita, very simple example is given to understand the existence of soul and the super soul. That is what we are going to understand today, the God. So in a tree, there are two birds. One bird is just going on eating and the other bird is watching. So that is, the watching bird is the Lord Paramatma who is watching, and the enjoying bird is Jiva. So he is just waiting when we will turn the face towards him. That is what the two birds represent. So now, before going further in our topic, I just went back to the analogy so that you understand what is the position of Jiva and what is the position of Super Soul, the Lord. So with that understanding, we'll move further. Can you move further, the slide? This we have covered. You can go. Yeah, this Newton we spoke about next. So here, many of us will feel, okay, we have been discussing about Lord. Now who will tell us who is the God? How do we understand? So we have understood from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tried to explain to Arjuna about the soul in the very beginning itself. And in the second chapter he goes further also to explain about the Lord. But there are many questions in Arjuna's mind. So he tries to understand by asking different questions representing us. We also have different questions in mind. So when he goes on asking questions, then Krishna says this verse in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 29. You all can try to repeat this. Bhoktaram yajya tapasam
Bhoktaram yajna tapasam
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Surat Sarva Bhutanam
Suddham Sarva Bhutanam
Jnatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Jnatva Mam Shantim Richati.
So here what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Somebody can read? Anybody wants to read this aloud? Stand up, read. You are looking at each other means nobody knows about or wants to know. Then like the beginning we have to say, okay, then everybody knows, that means I am speaking which everyone already knows. Somebody has to volunteer. Yeah, you read first bench. As loud as you can. You can read there, no problem. Not that one, sorry. English. Next slide. That's why nobody came forward. Oh, everyone was afraid how to read the Sanskrit. It's English. I won't test you all that much.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice, and Austerius, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wishers of all living
Attains peace.
entities, attains peace from the pangs of material messes.
Thank you. So this is a plain English. That's why I requested all of you to read. I'm sorry if all of you thought I'm asking you all to master Sanskrit in the day one itself. So this plain English explains the meaning of the shloka that we just recited. It talks about a person in full consciousness of me, the person who understands the Lord. Currently, what we saw, he should be the proprietor, he should be the person who is organizing everything, he should be the lawmaker. And in Bhagavad Gita says, a person who knows me, understands this is me, who is doing all this? So he is saying, all the sacrifices, whatever you do, it is for me, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. Because we know in India we have many devtas, each one will see who is God. So here Krishna is saying, I am the proprietor. And then he is not saying, I am only the benefactor. He is saying, I am the supreme enjoyer and also I am the well-wisher of everyone. He doesn't say I am going to enjoy and I am of my own. He will take care that everyone is getting their whatever is required. He is the well-wisher. And how do we understand? Today we get water, air to breathe. Everything is because of the God. So here we can understand whatever we define, he should be the proprietor, he should be the lawmaker. So here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that is a person who understands me that I am giving. Now people will have many things in mind. So we'll understand. Who has written the scriptures? Maharaja must have spoken to you a little bit about the scriptures. Who has written the scriptures? Vyasadeva, right? Yes, spoke about that. So when Vyasadeva wrote, he understood the Vedas are too much. People will not be able to understand because it has 1 lakh verses. So what happened? This Bhagavad Gita was given as part of Mahabharata. Basically, Mahabharata, Vedas thought after writing the scriptures, people will not have intelligence. They will not be able to understand about the Lord by using this. So what he did? Let me compile the Mahabharata. He didn't write a story, he compiled. Mahabharata happened and he had to compile that. So when he compiled the Mahabharata, what happened? He told, he was looking for a person who will actually compile the Mahabharata. Then he found, who was that? Lord Ganesha. So Vyasadeva asked Lord Ganesha, you are so supreme, can you please compile this Mahabharata? Then Lord Ganesha agreed. What he said? I can compile, I can write it for you, provided you say continuously. You should not stop in between. Then what happened? He said, okay, I can recite. But he also put a condition. Who? Vyasadeva put a condition, Lord Ganesha. He said, you can write, I will dictate continuously. You can write continuously, but you should understand each and every line that I write, and then you should start writing. So Ganesha agreed. Now Vyasadeva started dictating, and what happened? Ganesha started writing. So everyone knows in between he was out of whatever he could write, he broke his task. That is, everyone knows. But the point I am trying to drive here is, here Mahabharata is a complete set of 1 lakh verses. In that you have 18 parvas, volumes, and within that Bhishma Parva, in that 18 chapters, 25th chapter till 42nd is this 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So in that, this verse is written. When Krishna is saying, I am the proprietor, Ganesha could have stopped. What you are saying? Krishna is not proprietor. It is somebody else or it is me. No, he didn't stop. He had written. He understood each and every line. Whatever he has written. So from that, we can understand what Krishna is saying and how to take it up further. So now we have defined who is God, and also we have seen what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. So whom to accept as God. Now let us go further. One more verse. I will not go too much into Sanskrit. One more, so that we go in depth, so that this whatever we have learnt, it goes into our heart. Sarva yonishu kaunteya. You all can try, even if you are not able to pronounce, it's fine. In Sanskrit, you just need to try, and automatically by repetition, one day you will be able to recite properly. So this is only a beginning. Murtaya sambhavantiha
वन्दीया
तासां ब्रह्म महद्योनिर्
तासां ब्रह्म महद्योनिर्
अहं बीजा प्रदापिता.
अहं बीजा प्रदापिता.
So again there is English. I want somebody else to come up. So you need not be afraid. It's not Sanskrit anymore. It's a plain English. Mike. Yeah, read.
Next.
Next slide.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Thank you. So here, again like the previous verse, Krishna himself is saying, I am the seed-giving father of all the living entities. He is not restricting only human beings or one set of category or only of the devtas. He is saying, I am the seed-giving father of all the living entities. So, we don't have any further doubt. It is only Krishna himself is saying, I am the seed-giving father. So, we can understand that he is the proprietor, he is the controller, he is the lawmaker, because he has given the seed. Now, we are almost towards the end of our session. We have 20 minutes more. So, what I will do is, before wrapping up, if somebody is having some question, I would like to take a 2 minutes break and ask if there is any question, because it cannot be a one-sided. Now I have spoken for 40 minutes. I want to know if there is any doubt. Even if you feel you are not understood anything from this 40 minutes, you can clearly say that, and I can still explain that in another 5 minutes. But if you all go out of the room, अरे कुछ भी नहीं समझा, then it will be a problem. You all have wasted 1 hour by sitting over here. Then I also come all the way and there won't be any output. Again, I will be talking about input and output. Being from IT industry, there is always input and output, right? So, any question? Mike. Yes, yes.
So the question asked is, how to balance the spiritual and material world at a time, as there is misconception that at a time we can only walk on one path only.
Thank you. Good question. And another thing is, like, I would request even the person can come over here. Anybody has this question, there won't be any thing against anybody saying how come asking this question after 2 days. This is the 3rd day, so nobody will say anything about that. Yeah, if you are the person, can sit down. So here the question again, I'll read out for everyone. How to balance the spiritual material? I will break into 2-3 things. First of all, the question says how to balance spiritual material. That is one question. That question is a long way to go. We'll understand maybe after the 6th section, and practically many things have to be done to balance that. Another part of the question, world at a time, that is a misconception that at a time we can only walk on one path only. So that is what the session is. This 6-day session, many of things would have already been known to you all. Something, it will not be something new out of the blue, somebody is saying. You can relate. Few things you already would have known, and you are able to join the dots. I know this. Now this is what I can relate to. So that can happen to few people. For few it might be something totally new. That's also not a problem. The main thing is, whatever you have learned, why I am asking you to ask question. Once you go out of the room, you should be able to explain at least what you have heard. Once you are able to explain some other different person whatever you have learned, that means you are convinced. So this journey of self-discovery, as Maharaj would have said, this journey is within. So within, whoever has started traveling, and once you all have under, 1 second, I will just ask everyone to focus because it's very important, because the question is very important for all of us, and this is the basic question we are trying to address. So it's not very difficult how to balance spiritual material. As my introduction was 30 years in IT industry, and by Krishna's mercy, I have heard from Maharaj in 2000, and it's 25 years. And before that 5 years also I was associated with the people of ISKCON. So, and there is an example, 30 years I've been in IT industry, plus I have been able to associate with all the devotees. So from this perspective, I am trying to explain you all. First of all, we need to get convinced. Whatever we have heard, it is the truth. That's why we are asking you to come up with questions. If there is any even a 1% doubt, then it is going to be very difficult for us to have this balance. Because unless we are convinced, why we will do something? Suppose you are sick and you feel you have to go to doctor to get a medicine, and the doctor gives the medicine, then it will work on you. If you feel I am not sick, I am quite healthy, and day by day what will happen? Your body will get deteriorated, nobody will understand what is the problem, and then finally will be bedridden, will have to be forcefully hospitalized, correct? So the first thing we need to understand, we need to have this connection with the Supreme. So that itself is solving our 99% of this problem. Because as it is said, you are all students, so you all know what is the definition of a problem. When we say there is a problem, understanding the problem itself solves how much percent? 60% at least, right? Then 40% is solution. First you need to understand what is the problem. So once you all understand what is the problem, that is what the journey is. We are trying to discover who we are. We are understanding in detail. Atma, Paramatma, everybody would have understood. And somebody in the lecture, they will say, Aap sheri chodne ke baad, you will become God. So all these lectures, everybody would have listened, heard. But we need to understand today, we are going further, saying we are Jiva, and there is Supreme, a separate person from us. We are not going to become the Supreme. We are God's, God''S. We are not God. So that is a very basic thing we need to understand. So what will happen is, once we understand who is God and who are we, our relationship, then we can try to follow whatever the question is, balance, spiritual, material, can understand. So now I have given you the brief understanding of the problem. First we need to get convinced what is spiritual, what is material. Spiritual, already we have been going through last 2 days. We are all actually what? Spiritual, Jiva. The body is given we are having a temporary hardware, software, so that we can exist in this material world. So that is a temporary thing that is given. So in one sense, if a person has this consciousness that everything is God's, I am also God, there is no question of material at all, right? The energy, the very existence of this laptop or whatever table, whether it is living entity or a non-living entity, it is the energy of the Lord. If the person with that consciousness, if he is looking everything as a relationship of the Lord, there is no question of something separate from spiritual. So everything is the energy of God. So there will not be much difficulty. So that is the base. But all of the questions will be, but how to do? So that practical application will go on learning how to bring up this understanding. Theoretical understanding is important. These 6 days, at least if you are not able to realize, at least we should have a theoretical understanding. We should understand, okay, whatever is being said, I may not have realized, but at least this is a theory. This is what scripture says. If maths, if you have been able to taught something on the board, whether you have understood or not, whether you can apply it or not. Fact is there in front of you. So these 6 days, the fact is given, whatever is there, and for you all to realize and apply that practically, it is having a process. That process, it's not going to be something different. Whatever you are student, whether you are working, whatever it's going to be, as I gave the example, being an IT professional, I never had a difficulty of at least attempting. So that is what all of you have to just attempt to follow. Then automatically the balance will happen. So if that is, does this answer the question? At least we have addressed the problem, the solution will come as you continue. So one big invitation, surprise, whatever you may call, Sunday we are planning to invite all of you to the temple so that we can have the certification process by Maharaj. So that can be one of the starting point. Yeah, any other question?
So the next question is, suggest a routine for a devotional person who's more interested in religious things than any other work, but don't get time to worship or talk to God.
So that is again, if you want to repeat, basically if one person is too religious, then it may mean that he doesn't get time. Now, what is time? What Krishna is telling about time? Kalosmi. Time itself is Krishna. If somebody says, I don't have time, I'll give you an example. One person wanted to buy a big house. What he did, he wanted to go for a loan. Then there was a rich person. He said, how much money you want? He said, I want 1 crore to buy a house. He said, take 10 crores. He gave 10 crores. And then he could easily buy a 1 crore house. Now, the rich person who donated, he said, give me 10 rupees. He said, no, I don't have. What is the meaning? The rich person gave him 10 crores, he bought a 1 crore house, and when the rich person is asking 10 rupees, he is saying, I don't have. So that is the meaning if we say, I don't have time. Time is Krishna. Whatever time we have in life, it is given by Him. And if we say, I don't have time, so that is what. So today, even small children, does it mean the person who comes in first in school, he doesn't play at all? He finds time to play, and then he is able to study as well. So the person who is inclined to do something, it is a priority that we set in life. So the moment we take one step, that is enough. If you feel you are having exam and you have to study 9 hours, study 9 hours. Can you spend 5 minutes for the Lord? 5 minutes if you can give, that is enough. Nobody said you have to give 9 hours and then study 5 minutes. So the question is, suggest a routine for a devotional person who is interested in religious things than any other work, but don't get time to worship and talk to Him. So it is not a fanatism that I need to have 9 hours to talk to the Lord. If I am doing everything for the Lord, I am studying. What you are studying for? Studying for the Lord. You are studying for Krishna. After your studies, what you are going to do? You are going to earn. You are going to earn for Krishna. You are going to, even if you set up a family, you are going to raise a Krishna conscious family, and children will be Krishna. If that is the thinking, then where is the separate time required for what we are doing? Everything is for Krishna. You are studying for Krishna. So religious, that doesn't mean only to sit in a room and do. We will be teaching meditation. Meditation is required because that is a ATM, anytime mantra. We will be connecting to the Lord. So that doesn't mean we are not going to do what we want to do or we have to do. Studies you can. So if somebody feels that they have to study 4 hours and then they will not get 5 minutes for the Lord, that means it's a wrong thinking. What will happen is, if you feel 4 hours is the time required for you and you have spent 5 minutes for meditation, automatically you may end up spending only 2 hours for studying. So automatically the time will come. Why? Because kalos me. Time is, Krishna is time. So that is why there is no much difference. Like it's not that today you have been taught something that you all will be starting doing something different. No. You all will continue what, if a student, if a teacher, if a principal, if a person who is going to office, they'll continue the same thing. Only thing is, it will be a slight, like whatever we have been doing today, it is like 0, 0, 0, 0, and we are going to add 1 to it. So that whatever we do makes sense and we are able to achieve what we want. So, conclusion is, what we are currently doing and what will be doing is not tangent. It is just adding one more point to it so that we can continue to do in a more efficient manner. Hope this address whoever has asked this question. Any further clarification? I can go ahead. Is it clear? No further this one, I'm assuming it is clear.
Okay, the next question is, if we tell anybody that God exists, then that person's asked, what is the proof?
Thank you. So that was our start of the very class, today's session. So the session, rather than being for us, for anybody sitting in the room, it was whether we are getting convinced and whether we are able to speak to somebody. So there are 2 to 3 things I would like to address this question. Number 1, have you understood what we have discussed today? We said the existence of God means we are looking at a proprietor, we are looking at a lawmaker, organizer, controller. And we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, so we are answered, we know. All of us in the room have got convinced, at least the person who is having this question, how to tell others, I should get convinced. If you want to become a maths professor, you should be expert. You cannot say, मैं fail होके आया था maths में, अभी maths teacher बनना चाहता हूँ, right? You will have to struggle, you will have to become an expert in that, so that. So when you want to explain somebody, you need to get convinced that God exists. Once that is there, once you are convinced, there are many ways how the acharyas explain us. Our acharyas has given us theory, scriptures have been given, but they are not giving this theory and walking away. They are setting the examples in their life and then showing us how it has been done. Even example of Maharaj, he is a marine engineer, and when he has done the engineering, he got a job of 2 lakhs, but he felt he wants to propagate. He saw all of us stranded, we don't know what to do in life, so he has taken up the mission of explaining this. It's not that he is not capable of something, he has done and he wants to explain, so he has taken up that. So he has taken up the journey where he wants to explain others. Now out of this room, how many of you have been attending all the 3 days and wish to continue further? Tomorrow Maharaj is going to come. How many of you will come to Sunday to the temple? So if I assume all are going to raise your hands and going to come. Thank you. If somebody doesn't raise the hand, does that mean God does not exist, or what has been spoken about the soul and everything is false? It is there. The scriptures are told and you have been given an opportunity to take up, so that you all can continue what you are doing and add that 1 to the zeros. But if somebody doesn't take that, who is at loss? The person who is not getting convinced or you? It's simple as that. Why you want to convince him? If you want to convince, you can try. If he is convinced, good. If he doesn't get convinced, that also good. Krishna will have some other option for him. Today the session has happened. It's all Krishna's arrangement. All coordinators have done. Your principal has agreed this session is happening. If the session could have happened before, it could have happened after. But why it is happening now, these 5 days? Because you are all destined to get this knowledge. Now, how many of you will take this knowledge and go further? It is up to you. The freedom has been given by the Lord. That is the free will we have. See, if we are supposed to be forced by the Lord and told, yes, you have to accept and this is the way you have to, then it could have been done by Him because He is the lawmaker, organizer. He could have controlled long back. But why this has been given the freedom? Because the freedom is there. Now, our duty is to get convinced and then, if possible, convince others. They will themselves get an opportunity. So that is the answer for this question, how to convince. We just need to repeat what the scripture says. We don't have to invent anything. If you repeat what you have understood without any doubt, then the person may get convinced, or he also need not worry if he is not convinced, because Krishna will have some other arrangement for him. Because we need to understand, all the of us over here are children, and the Lord sends somebody or the other to take us to Him. That further we will study the scriptures, we will get in-depth knowledge. But that is the well-wisher we saw, right? Krishna doesn't feel, no, I don't want this person. He's looking something different that way. All are children, whether it is a human being or whoever is, Lord wants us to go back to Him, to the spiritual world. So there is no question of somebody getting ignored. Everyone get an opportunity. We can try to be instrument. By trying to be instrument, we are trying to fulfill one of the wishes of what Lord wants us to do. Because in a last, one of the examples I'll try to give, if in a fair, a child gets lost and the parents are searching for him, and then if the person finds a child and takes it to his parents, the parents are happy, right? So that is the way the Lord will be happy if we take any of us back to Him. Because this knowledge, whatever we have got today, we just need to share, and then Lord will be pleased. At least He'll be happy that you have attempted. So your success doesn't depend on whether the person is convinced. Your success is you have attempted. That is the main thing that we want to do. Hare Krishna.
The next question is, sometime we feel there is doubt that is there God because of the situation sometimes, so what is the reason? Hare Krishna Prabhu. What
Yeah.
the child wishes to ask is, what is the purpose of living?
Same question or?
Yes, she has written in the front as well as the back. But
Okay.
at the back,
Good. So now actually we are going to exceed our time, 3 o'clock. Is that okay? Another few minutes. Everyone need to be patient, because these are all very important questions. The main purpose of this journey is this: what is the purpose? See, what is the purpose, if this is not understood clearly, then our very existence is a question mark. Each and everyone will get stranded. When a 10th board exam, if a student fails, what happens? Immediately he feels, I have to give up my life. So we want to make everyone understand that is not the purpose. The purpose is serving the Lord and going back to Him. How we serve, whether you want to become an engineer, whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be a bank officer, doesn't matter. Whatever you be in life, whatever role you play, understand the scriptures, serve the Lord, and then go back to Him. That is the purpose. Not ending our life the way we want. So we are not here to get disappointed if I don't get something. Tomorrow, if I have tried to explain, you all will say, मुझे कुछ समझा ही नहीं, 1 घंटा waste हुआ. Then I cannot go into depression. Because I have attempted, that's the only thing. So, your role, whoever has asked this question, whether you are in the 2nd year, 3rd year, your purpose as a student is to get qualified. After that, as per your parents' guidance, your teachers' guidance, you go further what you want to do. That is one stream which you have to do since you have got a human form. Now, the main purpose of life that Maharaj must have said. Two questions. Who am I? Why I am suffering? Whatever we are suffering, whether you will say exam or wo bhi suffering hai. So that might be today's suffering. Tomorrow after you graduate, some other suffering will come. So you need to understand what is the main suffering. Main suffering is having taken birth, the woman birth, everything is a suffering. So how we can come out of this suffering? By understanding from the scriptures. How do I get connected to the Lord? So that itself will give us a purpose of life, and whatever we are doing externally, it is just a medium. That doesn't mean we should not do what we are doing. You can have your ambitions, whether it is becoming a whatever, chartered accountant or a doctor, engineer, that is one stream. But the main purpose is getting connected to the Lord. Now, we say sometimes we feel that is God because of the situation. Sometimes, what is the reason? That is what we started. Whether we feel or not, the scriptures have saying clearly about our Father, seed-giving Father. So that is there, whether you have understood theoretically or whether you have realized. Theoretically, we need to understand, yes, the scriptures say, yes, there is. Sometimes, many times, parents may scold you. You may get angry at them. Does that mean they have not given birth to you? Parents are the one who have given birth to you. They are giving you the college to study. Further also they will guide you. But sometimes you get anger at them. That doesn't mean they are not your parents, right? It's only your mood at that time. You want to do something, they didn't allow you. So you feel something against them. Similarly, we have certain desires and for our sense gratification. And if that doesn't happen, we feel it is the Lord who has done, so He doesn't exist. And somewhere you feel there is a famine, there is a drought, many people are losing lives, so there is no Lord. So that is all the perception. But that real answers you will get in the next sessions. Because out of the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, Jiva, Ishvara, we are at the second topic. There are 3 more topics to understand what is happening from the Shastra Chakshu, from the eyes of scriptures. We will have to understand whatever is happening. For that you need to understand 3 more topics: Karma, Kala, Prakriti. So this, once we go in depth, you will have an understanding why, what is happening, so that we are able to relate. We have understood who we are, we have understood Lord, we have understood the connection. But now why such things are happening? That can be understood further by understanding these 3 topics. And I said, this is the beginning of the journey. The self journey we have started. More further, you go through scriptures, all the answers will be found. Today, as you all know, if somebody wants to become engineer, what he will try to do? He will try to first get IIT, then NIT, then master mein koi bhi college chalega. But people who have taken even the IITs, they have understood the scriptures, all the logic, and they have accepted, and then they have taken this path to explain others. So that is one of the roles people decide to take up. So that doesn't make that as a wrong or something. So that is why this doubt is because of the different modes of nature. In the early morning, we feel like studying, and then in the afternoon, we are in passion, we want to do more work. In the night, the drowsiness, ignorance. So all these are modes that is acting upon us. So these things will create doubt on us, and whatever we have, the theoretical understanding, it will try to make us weak. That is the reason we need to have association. More we associate with scriptures, the strong determination will go up, and we'll be able to come closer to the Lord. So that is a short answer for this. Sometimes we feel that doubt. This doubt will go away as you further progress following this process. At least the theoretical knowledge we should have, whatever we learnt in this today's session. Hare Krishna.
And the last question is, astrologers quote whatever astrologers quote, is it 100% perfect? Or is it that they want to tell you in a very positive way?
First of all, we need to understand the scriptures, Vedas. Even the astrology is one science within the Vedas. So astrology is not something that doesn't exist, it exists. But again, how much knowledge today one has, it depends on the person's capability. So doubt about astrology need not be there. Astrology is there. Depending on the positions of the planet, one can determine. But how much one can understand and how much one can interpret and then pass it on, that depends on the person's knowledge. So whatever we are learning and whatever the journey we are going through surpasses all this. There is Ayurveda. In Veda, as we say, allopathy is about modern medicine. Follow Ayurveda because that is as per Vedas. So everything is there. But today people have lost knowledge about Ayurveda. Then what they do? We go to an allopathy doctor, at least something to get cured. So that way, some knowledge might exist of astrology. That is not totally wrong. But why you want to go into that? Because we have understood what is the purpose. What is the astrology for? You'll say, मेरा कल क्या होगा? Graduate, fail होऊंगा या pass? So those are the things you want to ask. Whether I'll get married, whether I'll not. So how does it going to help you? We are saying you need to get connected to the Lord and then do that. Whatever is happening, you put your effort and it will happen. So that part is already there. Why you want to go for astrology? It is trivial thing. But somebody is so desperate, go for that, and depending on the person's capability, you may get answer or not. It is again Krishna's arrangement. So you may get answer or not. It is up to the Lord's mercy. But the best path is follow and then get connected. Do everything for Krishna. This is the consciousness we need to build. Not what I am going to have, whether I am going to pass, fail, how much money I am going to earn. Because anything is not going to give you the full happiness. Suppose today your ambition is to earn 10 crores. Tomorrow, because of the inflation, the requirement might be 100 crores. Again you will feel, I want more money. So those things are endless. That will happen as per the requirement, as per your capability, as per your destination. Our purpose is already explained, that we need to get connected to the Lord and serve Him. So the astrology is just one of subject matter. As you have taken up one of the subject like commerce, science or something, so this is also a subject which is already specified in the Vedas. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Guruji. My question is to you is like we Vaishnava have another uniform like tilak and kanti, and whenever we wear it, people around us they are like you are attention seeker, this that. So what should we reply to them?
See, the reply is simple. What is your objective?
To praise Krishna.
Yeah, that is there. But now you want to come to college. So whether you want to put a Vaishnava dress and come, your main objective here to come to college is to study, hear from the teachers and go. So you may wear any attire because that is not your objective as person. The people feel attention seeker. I am not trying to seek any attention. So I will come to college as a normal person, study, go. But as we say, the consciousness, whatever we understood, whether I am able to imbibe that, whether I know my main purpose is following the Lord and then serving Him. So coming in any attire doesn't matter. So instead of being a center of attraction, it's okay to wear common decent dress and then do our work and go away. So that is the simplest answer.
No, not in college, but everywhere we go, anyone will say like.
That is what. So same thing applies. Suppose you are going to your relative's house.
Yeah.
And then if they feel that if they are new to this, and then you going in the Vaishnava, they will feel, "Ye kya kar rahe ho?" Then they may create offense since they don't know much. You have to slowly. Again, I give you example of Acharya. They show by example. So all of you can set an example and then take people towards that. Whether it is your relative or your friend, it doesn't matter. If you are convinced and you want to take towards that, you have your own steps. But whether you want to wear an attire or not and how much comfortable you are, it is up to you. It doesn't matter that I doing this attire, so I am Krishna conscious, I am a perfect man. It doesn't happen that way. The consciousness, what I do, what I am planning to do, that is the reality. The attire doesn't mean anything. Attire we wear because, as you rightly said, attention. Yes, if I wear this attire, people know, okay, I am going to talk about the Lord, and my duty is that. I am not coming here for a computer lecture. Maybe if you ask me a computer lecture or something, I may wear pant and shirt. I may. So that is a understanding. So attire is one of the medium for us to be Krishna conscious. So if that helps, do that. But again, if you don't want to offend your relatives, friends, you can wear normal attire. Normal attire can be Indian culture, which nobody will have any problem. So those are, it's very simple. The religion or serving Lord or something, it's not very complicated. We just need to follow, and slowly we have association. Little by little, we'll go towards that.
So my second question to you is like in Mahabharat, like Duryodhana.
One second, before you go further, all are getting impatient, I think. Maybe we should take it separately, or all are interested. You can raise your hands. Be bold. Being bold is also one of Krishna consciousness. What is who wants to listen? So what I will do is, whoever wants the answer, come here separately, and rest of you can leave. Is that okay, Mataji? Yes. The group can have a meet separately.